Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Hello, 1 2 1 2. Hello.
Okay.
1 2 1.
Yeah. Hi, Baylor. Hopefully the audio is okay. Please let me know if you can. Thank you. So, hello. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Thursday Is it evening, afternoon, evening stream? Early evening, maybe. So I do these streams, live streams, every Thursday early evening at 6 o'clock. I wasn't sure what time. 6 o'clock, and that's UK time. 1800 hours. And the way you ask questions is through Skype. So you friend me on Skype, and then you can ask questions during this stream. Okay, so yes, trying to hold sandcastles. That's a really beautiful title, in my opinion. It's a really beautiful title because it's pointing out the impossibility of trying to hold sandcastles. It's pointing out the impossibility of trying to hold on to anything, of trying to know anything, of trying to be in any position on anything. That doesn't mean that the human doesn't have opinions or preferences or points of view, but it's a seeing beyond that. It's a seeing beyond the seeming relative or the seeming limitation of being human. This light's really bothering me, but I know without it it's a bit too dark. Just turn it slightly. That's full on. That's okay, I think. So seeing beyond that. And this is what non-duality is it's pointing in words, it's pointing to something that is beyond the functioning mind. It's beyond our limited understanding, beyond our limited language, beyond our limited interpretation of things. It's pointing to something so beautiful, so impersonal, that isn't dependent upon any particular form. So it isn't dependent upon the human being this way or that way, the human having this or having that, or liking this or liking that, or thinking this or thinking that. It's pointing beyond all of that. Pointing back. I think it's a biblical story or something about when languages began, like languages, like more and more languages split into many different languages, and it caused confusion, the different languages being spoken by humans, and it caused this division and this separation into groups. And this is pointing beyond that seeming division, that seeming individuality, that seeming quality of this group or that group, of this form or that form, which is really beautiful. That the forms, the appearance of form, the sensation of form, the appearance, sensation, the hearing of form, whatever it is, the feeling of form, the taste of form, the smell of form, is only that. It appears as that. So it appears as different, it appears as independent and unique. So this hand is different to the lamp, the chair's different to the glass. It seems different, it seems to have a different quality. And what's being pointed to in this waking up, or this non-duality, or seeing beyond that dream, is that this isn't divided, this isn't different, this isn't separate. And yet at the same time it appears that way. It appears to be different things, different forms. But what's being pointed out here is that that's not true. That isn't reality. It only seems to be that way. When there's this identification, this sense of I am someone living, I am someone who exists, this sense of contraction happens, then those forms seem real and true and the way things are. So thoughts seem true. What thought is labeling and saying about things, my interpretation of the stimuli is true. So this really is a lamp. This really is a room. This really is Rebekah here speaking. I exist as someone. So all that seems true and real and the way it is. And that's human suffering, to be lost in that dream, to exist as someone in that dream. That is human suffering, to be lost in thought, to be a part of thought, for who you are to be in that mix, for who you are to be a limitation, for who you are to have any position. That is suffering. And it's not true. It's not true. So trying to hold sandcastles, trying to hold up this idea or this belief or this perspective or this experience as truth, as real, as solid, as fixed, as fact, is impossible. Is impossible. And it causes so much discomfort to be living as ideas, to be living as anything, because that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is. So you're welcome to ask any questions, but you ask them through Skype. And my Skype address is Rebekah Maroon. So feel free to send me questions on there. Thank you, Baylor Mohammed, for the feedback on the audio. Just put it here. My phone is behind the laptop's internet. Okay, yeah. I forgot your name. It's Baylor, but it's Mohammed is actually your name on yeah. Could you please share anything about cause and effect? I ask because the more I listen to this message, I'm feeling the energy of freedom. Cause and effect. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Listening to this being spoken is it's like a resonating with what's being spoken of. There's a resonating beyond the character, beyond the thoughts, beyond the stories of who you are. There's a resonance. So you're asking, do these talks cause the effect of there being resonance? It seems that way. I think for lots of people will report that they went to speakers or read books or whatever, went to listen to a teacher speak about this, and then there was resonance. So yeah, it does seem to appear that way in the story of it. Yeah, but it's not like going to talks or whatever is offering you something or you're getting something. It's just pointing something out that already is, and then there's a resonance that seems to happen beyond you, beyond the story of you, the feeling of you. There's a resonance. But ultimately, obviously, there is no cause and effect. I mean, it only really appears in the description of things. So, like, someone hits me in the face, and I can look to the story and see, why did that happen? And look to the story and see back, and oh, I stole their money last week, and therefore I've been hit in the face this week. You can see a cause to that effect. Yes. So yeah, in the story of, you can say this caused this, but then why did I steal that money? What caused that to happen? You can go back and back and back, and what caused that? Then what caused that? And you can't find where it began from. You can't find the initial cause. So we operate in human language. We put cause to things, but it's just a point to stop at and say this caused that. We don't go beyond that to see there is no actual cause. We can't find the cause. We limit our looking to a certain point and say this is the cause of that. But actually it's just a way of us being able to assign things and say you did this then because of that, or it's simply a human way of operating. In actuality, we can't find a cause to happenings. Happenings happen. It just happens. So a thought appears, an action appears, steal the money. But but who put that thought, that action in? We believe we are someone, and we choose the thoughts that appear. We choose the behaviors that happen. But it's not ultimately true. It's not true. It appears that way and it plays that way. The human plays to say, I did it or I didn't do it. But actually, it's not true. It's just the way it seems to appear. But going back to your question, yeah, it seems as if listening to non-duality seems to resonate. It resonates with that which is already free. It's like freedom speaking to freedom. It's beautiful. That's a bit disappointing for me because I'm hoping to progress and lose the me someday, but sounds like I cannot make that happen. Yeah, yeah. It's such an investment in that idea of time, that that you are in time, and in time it's moving forward, so you're moving forward. It's the same thing really. Me and time, it's the same thing. You only exist in that timeline. But yeah, that's the dream of the human, that you are moving forward, so you exist and then you're moving forward to a better place, or worse place, but usually there's hope for a better place. Even the idea of losing the sense of me, it's another dream of, so I exist as a me, and I'm gonna at some point lose that sense of me, which is crazy because I exist and then I'm gonna lose a sense of me. Well, how would that be possible? There'll be two senses, two me's. Me losing the sense of me, and me is left. It's impossible. But yeah, that's the hope. That's the longing, the dream, waiting for something to happen, waiting for arriving at some point, and then and then and then, and so much energy, so much contraction is in that hope, in that we're waiting for, working towards. And I say that compassionately. I'm not intending to, because the mind will hear that and try to think, oh, feel bad, feel bad about myself, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm waiting for freedom. But that's another story of the mind. It's not true. It's not true that you, who's progressing somewhere, isn't reality. It's a dream appearing, a story appearing, a feeling appearing. So any stories, other stories it's telling, stories about I will get there, or I won't get there, I can do it or I can't do it. Either of those stories aren't true, aren't who you are. It's simply not true. But they're not just, but they're movements. They're movements that appear. They're just movements that appear. Old stories appearing, playing, disappearing. They don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. It just seems to happen in humans, this sticking, this holding on, trying to hold on to ideas, to sandcastles, trying to make something solid out of nothing, out of emptiness. Thank you, Mohammed. Hi, Deepa. Hi, Rebekah. Did you do any grounding or body awareness practices? I've done any grounding or body awareness practices. I've done many things actually. Body awareness stuff. I did Vipassana a couple of times. That's body awareness. I did lots of not lots, but I did some work on like Reiki healing, chakra work, auras, that kind of thing. That was yoga. Done yoga on and off for quite a few years actually. Yoga, bit of Tai Chi, not much. So yeah, various things like that. But I think that there was a desperation beyond that to try and get home. I was doing these things, believing they were about getting to freedom. So the whole progress path, I would do these things to lead me to this point of finally being there. Whereas now I can do lots of chakra stuff. I love chakras now, actually. I'm more able to feel chakras and enjoy that without it being about getting to something else. And it's really helpful to be not in touch, but just be open on different levels. I don't know what to say. It like I feel healthier. Yeah, I feel healthier. My chakras feel healthier. I feel healthier in general. Oops, sorry about that. So yeah, I've done practices a lot like that. Because I feel like I was drawn to radical non-duality because I had such a radical experience growing up. I had lots of trauma, couldn't quite deal with that trauma in the body. I had no real help to process that stuff. And so there was a desperation to get to this point of like being free of it all. Having tried suicide, then I tried to do it. I heard about awakening and enlightenment and thought that was the way for me, you know. And so that was my main focus: getting home, being done with this human experience, because it was just too hard, too painful, being alive. And so there was a strong attraction to there is no one. Like it was like a way to escape being human and being alive. And my theory was just my new theory. I don't know if it's true. It's not true, but it's just my recent theories. Like I would assume people who are drawn to that kind of teaching tend to have more trauma or be more sensitive to the human experience and have a desperation to not be here, to not exist because it's too painful. That's just my little theory. I don't know if that's relevant, but at least here it was about that. It was such a wonderful thing to hear, because it was just too painful. The body was in pain, and so it was the mind trying to find a way out of that and deal with that. What was I saying? Yeah, I've lost the thread now, what I was trying to say. Yeah, so doing any of that body work, body awareness stuff, isn't about getting to freedom or realizing who you are or going beyond the person, but it's very helpful to the human. It's very helpful to the human expression, but it's not needed. It's not necessary. It's not anything for what's being pointed to as freedom. It is beyond that. It is beyond the human trauma, the human experience. However difficult it is or how joyful it is, if freedom is what you are, love is what you are, beyond all of that. Yeah. but then waking up to that, so seeing beyond who you believe yourself to be, a character, a human, seeing beyond that doesn't necessarily, it won't necessarily improve or fix your human experience. It won't fix or make your human experience easier. I mean, in one way it does, because it isn't personal anymore, so it does ultimately, but in another way it doesn't. This is it. This is it. The human is the human. The human is the human, however the human is. And that is total freedom. That is total freedom. For body aware or no body aware. Like, it's total freedom. What's being pointed to ultimately. But it feels like that has to be seen. Not has to be, but it has to be seen that you aren't someone, that what's happening isn't happening to someone. For there to be true healing, actually, I feel like there has to be this collapsing happening, or at least like a degree of like seeing through that illusion, for there to be for the ability for there to be true healing. Because while you are that person, you are that human, like it's impossible, really, I think, to fully heal, because there's so much energy and seeking in that. And so non-duality is like pointing out the illusion of the whole thing. That you aren't someone in time, you aren't someone with trauma, you aren't somebody with these experiences that's happened to you. You aren't that. What this is isn't a person. What this is doesn't belong to someone. There's no one looking and living and doing. This is freedom. This is free. And it isn't heading somewhere else. It isn't heading somewhere, but the person so invested in this movement to future, the seeking is seeking out of this, seeking to a better place or another place, better or worse, but seeking out, because it's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable being someone in time. So its only salvation is to look forward. Whereas this is it. This is all there is, what's happening. This is it. This is it. And that's confusing and awful and maybe joyful to the person, but beyond that story, this is free. It's not better or worse or painful or joyful. It's just free. It doesn't need any of those experiences. It doesn't need joy. It doesn't need depression. It doesn't need anger. It doesn't need happiness. It's free as it is. However it appears. Thank you, Deepa. Hopefully that's answered your question. I'm on a little stool. I nearly fell off it. Even meditation was about getting somewhere. Everything was about getting somewhere. Even going to a talk, a non-duality talk, was about getting somewhere. Oh, thank you, Deepa. Excuse me. Okay, so maybe that's all for this evening. Just to play you out with a nice song. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next week. Sorry, it's too late now for questions. Music's playing. Thank you.